Join us on this week's Towncast Pembroke, where we'll be doing a Halloween special. Loads of events to share with you around the county for half term. We've got all the usual stuff, and I've got not one, but two new sections for the chatty bit. We're going to have a look forward, we're going to have a look back, and I need your input. Let's get on with the show. Hello, welcome back to this week's Towncast Pembroke. Always a busy week this week in Pembroke. It is Fair Week. Yeah, it's always one of those bits where it's great, it's lovely, it comes with issues, but it's great and it's lovely. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a manic week with the wind and the weather and those kind of things. But so you might have been lucky enough to be out kind of having a walking the dog as I am, either sunrise or sunset over the weekend, and you will have seen some fantastic sunrise and sunsets. So I'm going to share a couple of those to our socials, and it would be great if you could as well. If I just there's something very special about given where we are in the country and we look out towards the west, if you look out beyond the castle and you look down the river, so you're looking out towards the west for sunset, there's just something very special of that sunset. The rest of the country, when they see sunset, they see it over us. When we see sunset, we see it out over the water. Um, and yeah, it just, I don't know, very peaceful, very calming, and you just got to kind of stop and look for a couple of minutes, just kind of go, oh, that's just let the world kind of wash through you, sort of a thing. So yeah, if you've got any photos of sunrise or sunset, as I say, I'll put a post out on the socials. By all means, do share them because yeah, everyone loves a good photo. Everyone loves a photo. So if you can get right, so I've only ever seen this once. Okay, walking around the back of Castle Pond. So I know Castle Pond at the minute. The bridge is closed for another couple of weeks while they do the repair works. So walking the loop around there maybe not a thing, but in the mornings, and it's through winter time, there is a on top of the keep. There's a single window or something like that on the top of the keep, and I've only ever seen this once where the sun comes right through that window. So you've got to be standing in the right place at the right time on the right day. It's almost like a solstice kind of thing. It doesn't happen very often. Um, but if you've got a photo of that, that is just amazing. That is fantastic. It looks like a bright light coming through, and of course, it's got to be sunny on that day and clear skies. So it may happen more often. It's just always cloudy. But yeah, share your photos of sunrise and sunset on our socials. It'd be great to see those. So this week's show, obviously, we're gonna have a little bit of a chat about the fair that'll be in there, but we've also got two new sections. One about looking forward, so wouldn't it be nice, and one looking backwards called I Remember This. So yeah, if those will be on socials as well. So if you've got anything like that that you want to get involved with, please do get involved. But before we do that, we are going to have a look at the Halloween event special. Let's do that then. Okay, so before we crack on with the big Halloween events update, so just a couple of local things that you might be interested in. So I've combined the two this week, Pembroke and Pembroke Dock, just because there's so much overlap on the two. Okay, so first things first, on the 23rd, so this is a couple of weeks' time, but on the 23rd, you've got Couple with a Copper in Pembroke Town Hall in the morning again, which is always a good thing. There's a load of stuff going on in Pembroke at the minute where that's really relevant. So put that date in your diary, 23rd. And then we've also got the drop-in event at the Innovation Centre. That's this Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday the 7th between 4 and 7. So this is to discuss all the development up at the what used to be the Cleatherbridge Hotel. So that development up there, what's going there, and how it's all being managed and things like that. Chance for you to ask questions and share your feedback is the key bit on that one. So if you do want any more information, standard council number down the bottom there, and if you're watching on YouTube, there's an email which is devclo@pembrokeshire.gov.uk. So it's devclo@pembrokeshire.gov.uk if you're listening on audio. Okay, so this one kind of crosses over in between the two. So this week in Pembroke is obviously fair time. So yeah, we've all known about the fair for many years. So it will be closed to vehicles from so on Wednesday the 8th from 1 until 10. That's for construction. And then Thursday the 9th, 6 until 11:45. Friday the 10th, 6 until 11:45. Saturday the 11th, 2 until midnight. And there's always a little bit of disruption on the Sunday morning as well. So just be aware if you are planning on traveling through on Sunday morning, I'm not going to say it's chaos, but the roads aren't closed, but there's always disruption on that Sunday morning. They're moving an awful lot of kit out still at that time. So just be aware of that one. We will be discussing a little bit of the fair later on in the Pembroke Towncast as well. So here we go then with Halloween events, and there are loads of them, which is fantastic. Because when I started looking at this, I thought, are there that many things to do over the Halloween? Halloween falls into half term, so I thought, well, this is our area. This is what we should be doing. So yeah, loads of stuff going on. So the first one that I've picked up is an event called The Click, which will be at Manor House. I said this last week. So Manor House has changed its name to Manor Wildlife Park, which is interesting on its own. So they will be there on the 25th and the 26th. 3 performances each day, meet and greets, all of those kind of things. That's included in your normal pass. But if you are an annual pass holder, there'll be a £10 surcharge on that. You can't really see on the side there, but if you are watching on YouTube, zoom into that little bit there. So basically, it says there'll be 3 shows, meets and greets. It's basically a little bit spooky. It's a little bit spooky at Manor House this year on that one. So we've also got the Dinosaur Park. Dinosaur Park will be having the Dancing Dinos Spectacular Show. If you haven't seen the Dancing Dinos yet, and you've got young kids, I'd say probably anything under 6 or 7, this is just perfect for them. If you've got kids that are into dinosaurs and they're older than 6 and 7, then this is just great because the dancing dinos are absolutely fantastic. So they every day during half term week at 2 p.m. They've got VR films as well and a mini pumpkin trail there as well. So Dinosaur Park is really we tend to think of the Dinosaur Park as the little kind of cousin that's on the side of Manor House and Heatherton, but it's really punching well above its weight at the minute. Some of the stuff they're doing is fantastic. So, yeah, if you've got little kids, any of those days will be excellent for you. If you're into something a little bit more kind of teenage or adult, maybe, this is Heatherton. Now that just looking at the visuals on that from Heatherton, that's scary enough as it is. So this is the Haunted Harvest Hedge Maze, an after dark mini golf. So my understanding on this, so that there is a lot more information on this other than it's the maze at night and you're being chased by scary scarecrows. I don't think you need to do any more than that because that for me is enough. So yeah, 27th to the 31st. That is something that should be absolutely amazing. If you're not screaming coming out of there, then there's something wrong with you. Um, Carew Castle and Tidal Mill. Again, this is a little bit more kind of adult. This one isn't for the kids, but this is a little bit more. Why should the kids have all the fun? Why can't we have fun? Well, just because we're grown-ups. So um this is like an after dark event, paranormal investigation, mystery intrigue, blah 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 blah. This is inside Carew Castle. So yeah, it's kind of like a guided tour inside Carew Castle. Now the thing I was told about Carew Castle is about the monkey or the gorilla or the ape or whatever it was. Um that jumps into the fire, and you can still hear the animal scream. Um, so that was one that we were told when we were kids and we went there. So if you've got any other ghost stories around Kira Castle, I'd really like to hear them. It's part of what we'll be doing later in the chatty bit is I remember when, so that'll be a great thing to have when I remember when. So if you've got any spooky stories around Kira Castle, that's great thing to do. Or yeah, just go and have a there's loads of stuff going on with Carew Castle, but that's going to be fantastic. So that's Friday, 31st of October, 6 till 10. Places are limited. You will need to book. So that's on events.pembrokeshire.wales/# event 96. Or you can just phone Carew Castle and they will guide you through that. So back to something a little bit more kids orientated. So this is Merlin's Magic in Haverfordwest, and this looks great. This looks fantastic, and they've always spent a lot of time on the marketing on this one, as they just forgot to put the date on there, um, which is a real shame. But they've got loads of stuff going on at Merlin's Magic through this week. I'm going to assume because it's a Halloween party, it's on the 31st. But give them a buzz if that's something that you want to you think was going to float your boat? The Wicked Witch of the West, sing-alongs. Obviously, we've got Wicked coming out again at the end of November, Wicked Part 2, so it ties into that. So party games, bubbles, all of those sorts of things. Other events going on at Merlin's Magic. Now, I've not got little kids, okay? So mine are all grown up and all of those kind of things. So I'm assuming that this is something to do with little kids. If not, it just looks great. So Blippy and Miss Rachel for that's the October 29th, 9 till 11. Songs, dancing, meets and greets, glitter tattoos, etc., etc. And you get a breakfast box on that, which is great. Monday 27th, 11 till 1. They've got a slime and craft event there as well. So, loads of stuff going on over there for you to get involved with. A little bit closer to home. So, the Tenby Pumpkin Patch has now reopened. I couldn't squeeze all of this into one kind of visual. So, it was due to open this weekend. It did open limited. Obviously, it was very, very windy this weekend. But the pumpkin patch is now back open, so that's always good fun over half term. Something for you to do there. So a little bit closer to home again. This is St. Govan's Centre. So St. Govan's Centre have got like a week of Halloween events from the 24th to the 31st in the shopping centre. So I haven't got many details on it yet. We've got kind of a general overview, trick and treats, creepy fun for all ages. I'm assuming there's going to be like just general events, paint your face or those kinds of things, craft making. More details will come soon, but yeah, we keep saying, oh, there's nothing on in the town, there's nothing on in the town. Now the town, we've got businesses in the town, the middle of the town centre, St. Govan Centre, putting something on and I don't see how they can charge for that because it's a walkthrough. So there'll be, this is something free to bring people into the town centre. This is just fantastic. This is what we should all be supporting. So I encourage you to all just take time that week to just take one day and go and just walk through and have a look and see what's there, because more of that we need. Penna Hall has got loads of stuff coming over half term. So if you don't know where Penna Hall is, so bearing in mind this is going out to Pembroke and Pembroke Dock. If you come across the top road from Pembroke School Leisure Centre and you go right to the far end, at the T junction at the very far end, turn left, go down the dip, go up the dip. It's on your left hand side there. There isn't a massive amount of parking right next to it, but there is parking in and around the area. So if you are driving, just be conscious that it is a um, residential area and you might need to walk, 2 or 3 minutes to get to it, but it is well worth it. So Halloween party, 31st of October, 4 till 5:30. So it is aimed at kids, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. Again, why do the kids get to have all the fun? So 4 till 5:30, £5 per kid, hot dog drink and goodie bag included in, music and game of fun for all the family. So there's details available from Helen. If you go onto the Facebook page, Penna Hall, you will find all of the information for that one on there. They've also got Crafty Kids Halloween Spectacular on Tuesday the 28th, which is crafts and arts and fun and games. That's from 1 till 3. Costumes are encouraged. See, now we're talking. Now we're talking. So that's from 6 and above. And the bit I like with that is it doesn't have an upper limit. So, I'm I'm significantly older than 6, but I think it'd be quite, yeah, I think I'd probably get kicked out if I went to that one. So that's £20, but that is so £20 for Crafty Kids on Tuesday 28th between 1 and 3, again in Penna Hall. And one more in Penna Hall. This is another craft event, so craft for the kids. This is on Tuesday 28th between 10 and 11:30. Blimey, that's it. So on that day, they've got one in the morning between 10 and 11:30, and then one in the afternoon between 1 and 3. So you get a choice of which one to go for. Lots of Halloweeny orientated things and what have you. That's between 4 and 6. So yeah, I can't go to that one. So well worth going to those. Something for the adults as well. So charity curry and quiz night, which is in aid of Forever 11 and Portatori. That's on October 25th. Doors open at 6:30. Again, always worth going to these things because they are a good laugh. £10 per person. Bring your own bottles. So sticking with something a little bit more adult. Now I'm hearing some really, really good things about this. So over in the Torch Theatre, a production of The Turn of the Screw. Okay, so it's a Henry James story adapted by Jeffrey Hatcher, but it's a new production. It's on from the 8th to the 25th of October. Scary as hell is one thing. So if you're a bit more adult and you like your entertainment a bit more kind of highbrow, and this is absolutely for you because this will scare the pants off you. Which full credit to Torch Theatre for putting this on, because this is yeah, I think that's got a lot of potential to do really well on that. So, yeah, other things in Pembroke Dock, then we've got Halloween at the museum. So, over in the Heritage Centre, lots of kind of half-termy type things, themed around Halloween, face painting, badge making, quizzes, etc., etc. Children are free. If you've never been to the Heritage Centre, this is a good opportunity. Half term, 28th to 31st, 10 till 4. Get the kids over and just let them wander. Have a look at the kids' activities, and then let them wander and ask questions. Because kids will ask questions, and when they're asking questions, then they're learning. And there's so much stuff in the Heritage Centre for them to learn. It's frightening. Yeah, yeah, well done. Okay, other things on 31st, then there is a Halloween party at Des's Cabin Community Centre in Moncton. So there's a little bit of a renovation project going on to upgrade the community centre. Various bits and bobs, which you can see up there, £2.50 per person. Um, yeah, loads of stuff going on there. I'm sure we'll hear more about that as we go forward on that. So that is it for the events. Let's go and do a little bit of chatty bit. So if you are liking what you are seeing and hearing, difficult to like what you're seeing, I get that, but you know what I mean. So if you watch it on YouTube, please do consider giving us a subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. Like us on socials and get involved in our socials. Comments on Facebook, comments on our YouTube would be fantastic. We've got some really, really good things coming, and we'd love to get more of you involved. So if you can do that, hey, tickety boo, thank you very much. So loads of things going on over half term and Halloween, and yeah, already seeing more being posted. So keep in touch with our socials, and we'll keep posting them on there for you. And we hope you have a fantastic half term and Halloween. So yeah, on Halloween, like you might remember this, like when I was small, everyone used to go to everyone's. How you kind of get dressed up and you'd have a bucket and you kind of do your street and you'd kind of like that would be, and you'd have, who to go to and who to avoid, who the grumpy ones on your street. You kind of you knew. Um, and then it became almost like a business where, people would do the whole town and every street and every house over like a week. And I remember somebody coming to my door once and saying, could they have money instead of chocolates? And my dad getting proper narky with them and telling them to sling their up sort of a thing. Um, so yeah, and now it's gone to you only knock on doors if they've got like a pumpkin out the front or they've got decorations out the front and all of that. So things change. It's interesting to see how we change as a society and as a town, and where that goes next. At some point, somebody will invent virtual trick or treating, um, virtual carol singing, virtual penny for a guy. Remember people used to do penny for a guy? So anyway, let's move on and introduce some new bits. So we've got two new sections for this week's show that hopefully we will take forward. So one is called I Remember When, which is kind of a look back over some of the things that used to be in the town and how things used to happen. But some people just don't know, and you would never think. You'd look at it now and you go, no, that would never be. So yeah, it's interesting to look back on that. And then wouldn't it be nice, which is just kind of small bits. So wouldn't it be nice if wouldn't it be nice, because I'm a massive Beach Boys fan, but also wouldn't it be nice if we just did something small on that? And then we'll still do the chatty bit in the middle. So my first, I remember when, and this comes from my talking to my kids, going to we went to the co-op to get milk, and a couple of other bits and bobs. And I said, um, gosh, I remember when this was a video store. So a what? So explaining videos was the first one, but so the co-op used to be, so where the co-op is on Main Street, where the new co-op is down the far end, just past and opposite the coach house, and the bus stop. Um, so that used to be a petrol station. And it didn't have many pumps and stuff. and it had a little shop inside where you used to get milk and odds and sods. But it also had a video store in there. When you used to rent videos, and it wasn't a great one. It wasn't Blockbusters, but I remember renting something. It must have been something like Pretty Woman, or it would have been a Friday night chick flick. I remember coming home, driving through Main Street, um, and this would have no, we'd have had mobile phones, so I'd have spoken to my wife before leaving work, and I'd have gone something like, "Right, I'll get some stuff on a video on the way home, Friday night, pizza and a video, whatever." And yeah, so it would have been something like Pretty Woman or something like that. It would have been a, a cheap um, Friday night chick flick. But yeah, it used to be a, a petrol station with pumps. And yeah, my kids didn't believe that. They couldn't envisage that as like how that would work and stuff. So it's interesting that um, yeah, looking back on the memories of how that used to work. So if you've got any photos of that um, as a petrol station, or maybe you worked in there, which would have been quite normal, but that I used to get petrol from there because it was easy to pull in and out because it's a one-way street, so you only had to worry about traffic coming from one direction. So I used to get traffic petrol from there before I'd go to the Green, before I'd go to Tesco's. Um, yeah, which obviously now, but then there used to be another one out on Holyland Road, which is now houses. So there used to be two petrol stations at the far end of town, one on Main Street and one on Holyland Road. And I'm sure I remember another one being out on Lampthe Road as well. So we used to have quite a few back in the days where you needed them. So yeah, if you've got any photos of any of the old petrol stations in town, and am I dreaming about the one on Lampthe Road? Um, might be the car garage. They might have had a pump at the front, so that might be what I'm thinking of. But yeah, if you can help with any of those, by all means, share them on our socials. It would be good to have a look through some of what the town used to look like and all of those kind of things. So yeah, post them on our socials, and I'll put a post up to just chat about what that used to look like many years ago on that. And what was your favorite film? Do you remember getting videos from that video store? Because that would have been the only one in town. I don't remember there being another one in town at that time. So this would have been early 2000s, because I think it went not long after that. Um, and it was derelict for a long time. It was left and boarded over. So yeah, if any photos, any images from those times would be great, just to fill in the missing bits in my visual memory. That would be great. So next week, obviously, we're going to be talking fair memories. And this is the weird bit again with the fair, where I talk to kids mainly. And explaining the concept that we didn't have cameras when we were small to go on the rise. Your parents might take a photo of you on like the ladybirds or something like that when you were really small. But yeah, you just have memories on the bigger rides. So next week we'll be sharing some of our memories from the fair. So yeah, if you've got any images of the fair in the 80s and 90s or beyond, please do send those in as well. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of a chatty bit as well. So my chatty bit. So at the start of the year, I did Swan Watch, and you might have seen the kind of the bits going there, and as they were pairing up, and Then as they were making nests, when they were making nests, sadly nothing came of them. Four pairs, all made pretty good, solid nests. There were another two or three couples that were desperately trying to make nests, but obviously the yeah, the material to make those nests isn't there, and won't be next year. We've cut that down again this year, so um, yeah. So just looking at how those kind of things have gone. So obviously on Castle Pond, there was a successful brood. There was four on Castle Pond. With the works going on Castle Pond now, they've drained Castle Pond, which is fine because the swans were a bit more grown up, a bit more adult. But the weird thing that's happened is that one of the cygnets, they must be 6 months old by now, start of April when they were born. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, 7 months. Um, so they must be big enough to move at the very least or fly because one of them has ended up on Mill Pond. Now, the strange thing there is that one of them is there, not four, and I can't see that there are parents looking after that one. So it's a bit bizarre. I'm assuming that the parents and the other three have gone downriver, where there are other flocks further downriver. But this one is separated and is living quite happily on Mill Pond, which is an interesting dynamic. Why does that one? So I did see two of them there at one point, two, and you can tell they're cygnets because they're the same size as a mature swan now, but they're still in their grey feathers. And over winter, the you can see already the white is coming through, the grey feathers are coming out, the white feathers are coming through. So in a couple of weeks' time, kind of end of October, start of November, they should be, 80% white and a little bit of grey, sort of thing. So yeah, interesting to see that one of them and this second one appeared for 2 days and then disappeared. So they must be able to fly. They must be able to move in between. I think maybe they've gone further up. Maybe that's where the family are. Maybe they're further up the pond, um, through the railway tunnel or under the railway tunnel, and then out the other side up by Howland Woods. Who knows? If you've seen them around, do let me know because I do like to keep track. The other interesting thing with Swan Watch this week would be that the pairs that we spoke about earlier in the year are still in the territories where they were originally. Now, the only ones that are kind of a little bit iffy are Arwen and Ariane win. So couple A, which is at the very head of the mill pond, and they were kind of like the more mature ones. They went down very, very early into their nest. He got very, very territorial because quite a lot of swans kind of come up towards him. So they are still there. And you might remember that we said this at the time where there was an additional swan that kind of hovered around them. The original thruple, if you like. Um, and so that still exists. There's two of them, but then there is a third one that is around, and then there's an almost territory marker. Now, what is happening is on the kind of the far side of where they made their nest this time. So they made their nest at the peak next to almost next to the path, in that area where the path goes around the back towards the tunnel. So they've been in there, but they're exploring the reed beds now, and these are new reed beds. So these are reed beds that haven't been cut back. These are natural reed beds that have started to grow on the far side of the mill pond. So on the side of the mill pond where you can't walk, there's a small kind of reed bed kind of starting to develop there. So they're spending a lot of time over in that area. So it may be that they are going to abandon the nesting site that they've had for the last couple of years and try over that side. Or it may be that there's an additional swan family coming and that might they may go over there as well. So that's going to be interesting to see how that happens. A lot of the others have stayed as pairs. We know that swans mate for life, but they do tend to like a little bit of space every now and again. So they'll kind of they'll be together, but they'll be together like that instead of like this. Um, so definitely Betsy and Berwin, Carwyn and Cariad, they've definitely maintained their territories. They're definitely still together. They're definitely still close. There was even a bit the other day where I thought maybe Betsy and Berwin were already starting to kind of make a nest. They were in and out of the reed beds, and that's what I thought, maybe there's something weird going on there. But nothing's come of that, and it's just that maybe they're doing a bit of housekeeping. But the bit to keep an eye on will be what happens on Castle Pond, where David and Dillis, where have they gone now? Have they gone further down? He was very, very territorial. He literally dominated that whole pond. Whereas on Mill Pond, they'll dominate like a small section, but people kind of go in and out of that section. Swans will go in and out of that section, and then they'll just kind of give them a nudge and say, right, okay, you're a bit too close, go back. Whereas Dav was very, very, that whole castle pond was his, and anyone that came close, he told them. So I fully expect them to come back to there after the works have finished over winter at some point. It is a good place for them to overwinter simply because it's quite hidden, it's quite sheltered, it's quite quiet, really. So yeah, that'll be good to see if that happens. And I would those two or three. You can see that there's a flock of swans on there that within that flock, you can see there are pairs. You can see that there's regular pairs that are in the same area and they're always together, blah blah blah. And then there's a group of teenagers kind of milling around, going, "Oh yeah." So it will be interesting to see if any of those pairs that tried to make a nest last year can make a nest anywhere, and if any on Mill Pond actually get to hatch. That's the key bit now. That's the key bit for me is I still maintain something must have happened with the water quality last year because four flocks, four nests with cygnets in that the year before had all produced cygnets and now nothing. So yes, so that's my Swan Watch update for this week. That is the chatty bit. So it would be good to again get some photos of the swans going again. If you know where Dillis and Dav have gone, then do let me know. I suspect it's further downstream, but if you see them anywhere, do send us a photo and let us know that they're all okay. That would be grand. Okay, so my next bit just to throw in again. And this is very much about, let's have a chat on socials about this. This is how I kind of want to do it from now on. Um, my next bit is very much, wouldn't it be nice if I know this is looking a little bit further ahead, but like I say, I went to Narberth Food Festival a couple of weeks ago. I see a lot of the people in Narberth Food Festival that you see at the Christmas fair, which is great for me because I know that I can buy stuff there and then test a few bits of it, and then I'll meet them all again at the Christmas fair at the end of November. It's a good kind of 6 weeks, 7 weeks between, and lovely. So then my head started thinking Christmas, and I've had this for a couple of years. I've kind of thought about this for a couple of years now. So Mill Pond, Castle Pond, we've got a lovely walkway around down the side of the Mill Pond. We've got a lovely walkway around both sides of Castle Pond. We should have Christmas lights in the pond. Okay. Now they do this down in Cornwall. It's a massive thing down in Cornwall, where it's almost like a bit of a competition in between towns who's got the best sea lights. And they do it in the harbours. So the boats come out of the harbours and they fill the harbour with, sea monsters and um, ships with lights on and things like this. And I just thought, it would be a great way of bringing people into Pembroke, gives them something to come and see, something to come and visit. It would be a great way of promoting the town. It'd be very, whether you like it or not, Instagrammable is a great way of marketing your town, and people do come into your town if they know that there's something there that's worth kind of looking at. So yeah, I just thought, could we maybe, maybe I think the issue is the amount of wildlife that's on there, but I'm sure if it was, done right and timed in a certain way, we could put, we can make it a little walk. We used to have summer lights down the side of Mill Pond. They used to like string lights going down there. So, we could do something Christmassy with lights just down the side of Mill Pond, and then maybe something in the pond that kind of just makes it a bit different, gives us a selling point, gives us a unique selling point as a town. Now, I know we're going to say that we've already got the lights through the town, blah, blah, blah. That's the town council. So, yeah, this probably would need to be in addition to that. But, and yeah, it's probably too late for this year. But wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to just be able to walk down Mill Pond, round the back of Castle Pond, and have a lit up Father Christmas in the mill pond, and maybe some Christmas trees, or let's say what they do in Cornwall. They don't really do it festive related per se. They'll have a sea monster with a Christmas hat on. They'll have an octopus with a sack on his back. Those kinds of things. So there's loads of stuff that we could do. Again, it takes money, it takes people, it takes time, it takes effort. But in the thought process of wouldn't it be nice? Yeah, wouldn't it be nice just to have something there for Christmas that we could go, this is what makes our town special for Christmas. So that will be a post up on the socials as well. Please get involved. I'd love to have your thoughts on a couple of extra lights for Christmas on that. Okay. So just a quick interjection. Same as usual. I would love to have somebody here to talk to. I was talking to a couple of people about this the other day, about how it's difficult to tell a joke or have a bit of fun when it's just you. Difficult to have a bit of banter when it's just you. So yeah, and difficult to exchange thoughts and ideas about what it used to be like, what it could be like, all of those kind of things. So if you are sitting there and thinking, yeah, I quite like the sound of this, then please do message me on ilovetowncast@gmail.com, and I would love to have you on the show, somebody to talk to instead of little old lonely me. Don't leave me alone. So yeah, if you want to, please do drop us a line. And if you sitting in another town and thinking, hey, we should do this for our other town, please do message me as well. I would love to get a few more of these up and running. Okay, let's move on. So we'll do again. I'm going to do a joint Pembroke and Pembroke Dock kind of sports results just for this week. Next week we'll switch back to normal service. So in the rugby, then this week, no game for Pembroke because it's a nine-team league, so it's the bye week this week. Quins went down 25-7 to Ponteberem at home, which is a bit disappointing. Results from week before, just in case you missed them. Quins beat Llanabella 38-5. Pembroke lost 41-10 to Tenby Athletic. So we can kind of start to have a look at the league. This is a bit strange where Crimmock Bulls only played the one game, but yeah, you can see Quins Pembroke kind of mid-table-ish there. Um, we're only three games in, or one game in if you're the Bulls, but uh, plenty of stuff to look forward to. Let's say on that. I have got a very quick result from netball club. So Pembroke Netball are on Facebook, and I say every week, send me your results. I'll post them up. So um, the only result I can find on Pembroke Netball is the under 10s. The Panthers won against Tenby Sapphires 14-5 on there. So if anyone's listening from Pembroke Netball Club, I would love to put your scores up for everyone to see. That would be fun, dabby dozy on that. So the same goes for the hockey club as well. If you're involved in the hockey club, send me the results so I can send them out for everyone to see on that. Okay, let's have a little look at the football. So only one game happened in Division One yesterday, which didn't involve any of our sides. So we'll go straight down into Division Two. So in Division Two, Carew Reserves lost 6-2 to Moncton Swifts Reserves, which is a decent game between the two of them. They're down into Division Three. Again, not many games on over last weekend. Nothing for us to see in Division Three. Division Four, I'm assuming it's going to be similar. Got a few more there in Division Four. Excellent. So Hundleton gave Solver Reserves a bit of a tanking, which is good because if you remember the week before, Hundleton went down like, yeah, 11-3 the week before. So good bounce back from Hundleton. 6-1 went over Solver. I think that's it for us in Division 4. Yeah. Division 5, then again, there's not going to be many results. Oh my God, Kilgetty lost 12-1 to Haverford West Reserves. Oof. Loreni Reserves beat Broadhaven 6-3. That is pretty much it. So, yeah, there were other games on last weekend, but I'm just going to cover the league. So I'm going to come back up to Division 1. We're going to do fixtures for the coming week. So, 11th, these are fixtures for 11th October. So, Carew will host Gurrick United. Moncton Swifts will host Narberth. Penna Robins are at home against Fishguard Sports on those ones. Moving into Division 2. In Division 2, fixtures for this week. Carew Reserves travel to Johnston. That's going to be a good game. Moncton Swift Reserves travel to Neyland on that. So Division 3 then, you've got Pembroke Borough travelling to Haverford West Cricket Club on that one, and then you've got Letterston and Loreni. So Loreni playing away in Letterston, Pennerobin seconds travelling to St Clair's on that one. Down in Division 4, into Division 4, and we've got Hundleton hosting Milford United Reserves, and that's another tough game for them. Angle travelling to Newport Tigers. We saw what the Tigers did to Hundleton, so that's going to be an interesting one. Manorbier travel to Prendergast Villa. St Florence host Neyland on that one. So Division 5. Division 5, you've got Loreni Reserves hosting Prendergast Villa. Uh, Pembroke Borough Reserves hosting St Clair's Reserves as well on those. So rugby fixtures for next week. Then Pembroke will host Langham, and the Quins will host the Plymouth Bulls out there as well. If you are listening and you can help me with youth fixtures and junior fixtures for the Quins and Pembroke, and by all means send them in. That I'll be more than happy to report those. Okay, I think that's it for this week then. So it was the massive events going on. There was the chatty bit. There's the I remember when. There's the wouldn't it be nice? And there's the sport. There's loads of stuff that I think worth really having a nice chat about. Um, I hope you have a great week. Hope you a fantastic week. Enjoy the fair, and I shall see you again next week. We will do it all again. All the best. Make Pembroke proud.